Oscar the Alien Robot, by Debbie Kohei. Once upon a time in a small town, there was a boy named Oscar. Oscar was a little different from the other kids. He thought he was an alien robot from outer space on a special mission to Earth. Every day, Oscar would walk to school with springs in his steps and gears in his imagination. He greeted his friends with beeps and boops, pretending to scan them with his robot eyes. "Greetings, fellow humans," he would say with a smile. During class, Oscar did things a bit differently. Instead of using pencils, he would tap his fingers together and say, "Calculating. Calculating," as if he had a computer in his head. When it was time for lunch, he would only eat food that looked like metal, like foil-wrapped sandwiches. His teacher, Mrs. Thompson, tried to help Oscar understand that he was just a regular boy, not a robot. But Oscar was sure of himself. "I'm an alien robot," he would insist with a twinkle in his eye. As days passed, Oscar's antics became more and more peculiar. He would pretend to fly around the playground, flapping his arms like wings. He even built a spaceship out of cardboard boxes, declaring it to be his intergalactic vessel. Some of the other kids thought Oscar was strange and would laugh at him behind his back. But Oscar didn't let it bother him. He was proud of who he was, even if he was a little different. One day, during recess, Oscar's spaceship collapsed in a heap of cardboard. He was covered in glue and feeling a little embarrassed. Mrs. Thompson rushed over to help him, smiling gently. "Oh, Oscar," she said, "what are we going to do with you?" But Oscar just grinned back at her. "Don't worry, Mrs. Thompson," he said. "I may be different, but I'll always rise above it all. Just like a true alien robot." As Oscar walked home from school that day, he remembered a story his grandmother had told him about a tortoise and a hare. In the story, the tortoise wins the race by being slow and steady, while the hare rushes ahead and loses. Oscar realized that he was like the tortoise, steady and true to himself, even if others didn't understand. From that day on, Oscar continued to be himself, embracing his uniqueness with pride. And just like in the story, he found that being true to himself was the greatest victory of all.